welcome back. This is Satan's Trilogy, Book 2, Chapter 6, and this will be reading 69. I am the author and the narrator. Please sit back, relax, and let the story unfold. Esther looked excited. You both look awesome, but now you must take it a step farther. Esther smiled at the twins and said, "They picked out some facial jewelry for you. We hope you like everything." Helen and Raven quickly opened this small sack and found over a dozen facial pieces of jewelry. "Oh my God," said Raven. "You bought the best of everything." Esther quickly explained. "With body piercings, only gold should be used. It is inert, where other materials might cause reactions from the body, and from what I have read, you don't want that." Turning to the twins, Raven said, "Gothic, more often than not, means having some body piercings. We have some of the best available right here." Raven and Helen both waited for a moment, and then Helen continued, "Some facial piercings would make your appearance more convincing that you are truly Gothic." Helen pulled out some gold rings from the sack. "These are lip rings. We can pierce your lips with them." Daniel and Tracy didn't look too receptive to the idea of having a ring in their lips. "What else do you have?" said Daniel. Helen pulled out some diamond brow studs. "These are brow studs that look awesome at the edge of your eyebrow. They have a small diamond at one end." "All right, that doesn't sound too bad," said Tracy. "Please continue." Danielle held up some diamond-studded nose posts. "We have 2 sets of nose posts. Both have a diamond on the end and are easily applied," said Helen. Danielle turned to Raven. "I think the brow post and the nose stud are something that I can handle." Tracy quickly agreed. "All right, I can accept that. This will make us look more Gothic and convincing." Raven said, "Wait, you girls have pierced navels?" Danielle and Tracy were almost too scared to answer. Finally, Tracy said no. Raven quickly held up some long navel jewelry with 3 diamonds dangling on a solid stem. "These are yours for the asking, and I highly recommend them. 3 body piercings and you will be accepted as Gothic," said Raven. Tracy reached for the navel jewelry. "Wow, these are really beautiful. They look so real." Esther responded, "They are real. 3 diamonds, a third and 2/3 carat, followed by a full carat diamond. These are worthy of the best that the World Organization of Wrestlers has to offer." Esther smiled and then offered some advice. "Danielle and Tracy, I see the both of you as being W.O.W stars. You need to project a convincing image of who you are." Tracy didn't hesitate, but for a moment, then quickly said, "Esther, you are right. This can be really big for us, but we need to be convincing." Turning to Danielle, Tracy said, "Let's do this." Danielle quickly followed with her own comment. "My sister always leads the way, and she is never wrong." Danielle then added, "I too understand we have to commit ourselves." Eve and Raven were on the twins like lightning. With everyone standing closely, by, wanting to watch the transformation. Within seconds, the twins had the brow studs, nose posts, and the navel piercings inserted. Danielle and Tracy did well. They could see each other, but they had not seen themselves. Both walked to the bathroom to look into the mirrored wall. Everyone followed the twins. Standing in front of the mirrored wall, both Danielle and Tracy studied their new looks. Then Tracy turned to her sister and said, "I feel that we have finally arrived. We have 8 girlfriends that have our backs. We have a new job that pays really well. And we now have a look that will please the audience." Danielle looked at Tracy and said, "Tracy, you took the words right out of my mouth." Danielle and Tracy turned to see 8 new friends beaming in pride from the bathroom entrance. Esther said, "Let's finish the transformation. We have a dozen shopping bags of clothing, your sizes, and everything is black." They chose the majority of it, with Riley and I choosing some. "Take the clothes and give us a gothic fashion show, one I am sure we'll all love." Everyone agreed and quickly pleaded with the twins to give us the final look. Danielle and Tracy went into Esther's bedroom. Day followed closely with 12 shopping bags of clothing. Everyone found a place to sit in the living room as they waited for the final presentation of the new W.O.W. Gothic twins. Inside of Esther's bedroom, Day quickly emptied the shopping bags onto Esther's bed. "Oh my God, where do we start?" said Day, talking to herself and not the twins. She then looked up and said, "Okay, strip down. Let's build up from nothing." Danielle and Tracy looked at each other and then laughed, quickly removing their clothes. It seemed like a long time, but it was only minutes before Day opened the door and was followed by the Gothic twins. Day quickly became the style show speaker, describing the fashion show to the audience. "Ladies, we have Danielle Elizabeth wearing leather trousers by Chore, front laced with black string ties. The high leather boots buckled at the side are by Bow Street Fashions. The blouse is by Carson, sheer with a black bra by Carroll's of New York." Danielle walked about for a few moments and then stood as Day continued to introduce Tracy. All the girls had applauded the show. "We now have Tracy Ann of the World Organization of Wrestlers. And you will not want to mess with this girl. Tracy has on knee-high leather boots by D.J. Harold that are laced at the side, black stockings, and leather shorts from the Carson collection. Tracy is showing off an opened silk blouse by April Keys, with pearl buttons flowing halfway down the front as the blouse gently flares open to both sides." Everyone again applauded the style show. Day was thoroughly enjoying herself and the Gothic fashion show. Wishing to move on, she remarked, "Thank you, girls. That was wonderful." Everyone erupted in applause, clapping in approval of the clothes the twins had shown off. The twins left the room, followed by Day, and returned in only 4 minutes. Day again spoke to the small audience. "Our first model is Tracy Ann, wearing black leather boots with a 3-inch heel. This exciting footwear screams style with chrome chains draped at the side. No nylons for this schoolgirl. Tracy is wearing knee socks with a black and white checkered pattern provided by April Keys. The skirt is low-cut black leather that hugs the shape of the woman lucky enough to wear it. And finally, Tracy has a D.J. Jackson silk blouse with high and low cuts, exposing slightly more than any good girl possibly should. Tracy chose to remain covered by wearing a black cotton bra by Carroll's of New York." By now, Danielle and Tracy were totally enjoying the style show, and were spinning about as they described their clothing, and all of the girls kept applauding them. All right, girls, we have one more set to share with everyone. The twins immediately moved into Esther's bedroom, and they closed the door behind them. In less than 3 minutes, the door opened, and they walked out, followed by the twins. Our final show tonight is slightly more provocative. Our choices in clothing is for the woman that is confident in herself. Our models are wearing identical outfits. Buckled boots by DJ Jackson. No stockings tonight for our girls. Their well-toned legs show off well with the exciting shorts made of fine silk by April Keys. Both ladies are wearing sheer blouses of rayon with their black bras from the Silky collection, clearly visible and appreciated. They turned to the twins and applauded as she said, "Thank you to our 2 models tonight, Tracy Ann and Danielle Elizabeth. Weren't they wonderful?" They continued to applaud, and everyone had already been clapping in approval. The style show had been a success. Brandy jumped up from her seat and quickly joined the twins, giving both a hug and congratulations. "You 2 girls," said Brandy, "make me want to be a weekend gothic. You both wear the clothes so well, and they look awesome." Everyone had joined Brandy in surrounding the twins, offering their compliments and comments. "I have an idea," said Esther. "Let's go to Italy's pizza parlor and have a Palerzi pizza." Immediately, everyone agreed and was excited. The twins were new in town and didn't understand the enthusiasm. Tracy said, "This must be really great pizza." Brandy quickly responded, "Yes, and wait until you see Luciano Palerzi. He is so handsome." Brandy giggled for a moment. "All right," said Esther. "Let's put some clothes over our undies and hit the road. The Mustang can hold 5 people, but it's so little tight. I'll take Day, Helen, Chris, and Eve. Brandy, if you don't mind, you can take Raven, Riley, Grace, Danielle, and Tracy." Brandy was excited. She not only loved the pizza and the beer, but as she had stated, the manager was a very nice-looking man. A really nice-looking man. Arriving at the same time, the girls parked close together and walked up to the center of the mall, quickly finding their way to Italy's pizza parlor. Esther had phoned ahead and reserved a table for 10. Mr. Luciano Palerzi Sr. was the one she had talked to, and he was excited to greet her. As they all entered the pizza parlor, Mr. Palerzi Sr. quickly ran up to Esther and greeted her. "Esther, it has been too long." Luciano Palerzi Sr. was within inches as he hugged Esther and spoke to her. "You know that you are my favorite customer, and yet I can only remember your being here once." Esther felt embarrassed and wanted to apologize. "I am so very sorry, Mr. Palerzi. I am still in high school, and you know there are many demands on me." Esther gave Luciano Palerzi a kiss on the cheek. "I am here tonight, and I am with my aunt, my sister, and 7 wonderful friends. We all know that this is the only restaurant to enjoy true Italian pizza." At that moment, Mr. Palerzi's son walked up with a large smile and welcomed Esther and Brandy by name. "We have missed you, and we are so excited that you have chosen our restaurant tonight." Luciano turned to the large entourage and added, "You have brought such a large party. Please tell us who all of these lovely ladies are." Luciano Palerzi III approached each girl as Esther introduced them, thanking each young lady for coming to the restaurant. Luciano smiled and was a charming host. Turning to Brandy, he said, "Please, Brandy, follow me. We have prepared a special table for you." Mr. Palerzi Sr. added, "Oh yes, we have our best tables and our best waitress for your party. I want everything to be perfect for you. Please follow us." And so the two Pelerzes led the girls through the restaurant and to the far back, where they had moved 3 tables together to accommodate 10 people. Mr. Pelerzi was wanting to make certain that the girls were properly served, and so he asked about their drinks. What would everyone like to order? Esther asked for water, and Riley Grace followed suit. Eve, Chris, Raven, Helen, and Day all agreed to water, while Brandy said, "I just can't have Pelerzi pizza without a pitcher of beer." The twins agreed that beer sounded great. Tracy added a comment. "When you are on the road as much as we have been, you eat a lot of pizza, and it seems like there is always beer to wash it down." Danielle smiled. "I don't even like the taste of beer, but it does go well with pizza, and I sort of enjoy the lift it gives me." Danielle turned to Tracy. "Why don't we share a pitcher?" "That sounds good to me," replied Tracy as she started to relax at the table. The restaurant was very busy, and the waitress had not made it to the table yet to take their orders. Everyone was talking about which pizzas to order and the toppings they choose from. There was never a certain seating arrangement with the girls when they went out to eat. It seemed that they always chose a random seat positioned by any of their girlfriends. Tonight, Esther had Raven on her left, and Danielle was on her right. Day was on the right of Danielle and had Riley Grace on her right. It was wonderful how everyone felt comfortable seated with any of their girlfriends. As everyone read the menus, Esther noticed that Mr. Pelerzi was attempting to position the drinks from the bar on a small tray. She jumped up and joined Mr. Pelerzi at the bar. Esther placed her hand on his as he repositioned the tray. "Please, let me help you. I have served drinks to many people in my life." Esther smiled, a reassuring smile at Mr. Pelerzi. "Have I told you that my goal in life is to be a great chef?" Mr. Pelerzi was struck by Esther's kindness and the soft touch of her hand. He then asked, "You want to be a cook?" Esther quickly responded, "Yes, but more than that, I want to be a great cook. I want to please people with my cooking the way you do." Esther took the tray of drinks. She then spoke in Italian to the old man. "Let us serve customers." Mr. Pelerzi Sr. smiled. He loved to hear Esther speak Italian and was thrilled at her sweetness. At the table, Mr. Pelerzi Sr. took the 2 pitchers of beer and handed them to Brandy and then Danielle. Esther quickly positioned everyone's water in front of them and then went back to Mr. Pelerzi. Esther gave him a big hug and smiled at him, then said in Italian, "You make a great team." At that moment, the waitress walked up and without hesitation started to apologize for the delay in her promptness. "It's been just crazy tonight. I am so sorry that you have waited so long." Esther felt her sincerity and tried to ease her discomfort by showing her that Mr. Pelerzi had already provided the drinks. No one felt there was any delay in the service, and Esther made this clear. "Thank you, Grandfather. You have been such a big help tonight. I would be lost without you," said the waitress. The young lady looked at everyone at the table, then proclaimed to them, "I am Maria, your waitress for the evening. I see that you have your drinks, and I apologize that I was not here to provide them to you. Fortunately, my grandfather has been a big help tonight." The waitress was talking while pulling out her order pad, and then she added, "This must be the busiest Sunday that I can ever remember." They spoke up and asked Esther, "What do you think about ordering 4 large Pelerzi pizzas?" Esther quickly agreed. "I think that is perfect. 10 people can't possibly eat all of that food. We'll have some to take home. I love cold pizza in the morning." Maria quickly said, "That was easy. 4 large Pilarzi pizzas? I'll put the order in right now." Maria turned and quickly disappeared into the kitchen. Esther turned to Mr. Pilarzi and asked, "Would you like to sit with us for a while? I know that you have a lot to do, but you are welcome to join us." "I would love to join you, but just for a little while. As my granddaughter said, this is a very busy night." The elderly Pilarzi sat alongside of Esther. "Please introduce me again to your friends. I know that if they are special to you, then they are all special to me." Then Mr. Pilarzi spoke in Italian. "Those special to you are special to me. That is the way I feel." Esther gave Mr. Pilarzi a big grin and kissed him on the cheek. Esther loved this wonderful old man from Italy. "These are my closest friends and family." Pointing to Day, Esther said, "This is my sister, Day, and alongside of her is my father's sister, Aunt Brandy." Esther continued to point out each of her friends, giving an explanation on who they were. Finally, Esther reached Riley Grace and said, "This young lady is obviously not our age. However, her intelligence matches ours. She is Riley Grace, the sister of Raven." Esther gave Mr. Pilarzi another hug from her chair and added, "I know that this is a lot of information to absorb in one night." Mr. Pilarzi smiled at Esther. "Since I have stayed on my medications, my memory is much better." Mr. Pilarzi smiled at Esther. "You convinced me to take my medications. I owe you a great debt. I enjoy the world around me so much more now." Giving Esther a grin, he said, "I remember everyone here. They're all people that I want to remember." At that moment, Maria arrived, followed by another server, and they had the 4 pizzas. Placing the pizzas in the center of the table, Maria asked about refills. Brandy said, "I think another pitcher of beer for me, please." The twins, Danielle and Tracy, quickly added, "Please bring another pitcher for us. The beer is ice cold. We love it that way." Maria had some help from a young busboy with refilling everyone's glass of water as she rushed off to the bar for 2 more pitchers of beer. Activity at the table was wonderful, with 10 girls and at least 3 to 5 different conversations going on at the same time. And Brandy had consumed a pitcher of beer and was feeling wonderful. The twins were feeling good, but they had shared a pitcher. Maria quickly returned and placed the 2 pitchers of beer on the table. Brandy had been sharing stories with Danielle and Tracy. All 3 were giggling while talking, and they seemed to enjoy the stories even more as they drank the ice-cold beer. Brandy, leaning over to Tracy, whispered in her ear, "I stopped dating my first boyfriend because he had cat hair on his clothing." Brandy took a sip of beer and added, "I was a freshman in high school." Apparently, Brandy hadn't kept her voice down enough, because Danielle asked, "Are you allergic to cats?" Brandy looked at Danielle, focused her eyes on her, and then said, "No, I like cats." Brandy then burst out laughing at herself. She finally managed to say, "Cat hair doesn't belong on clothing." There was silence, and then all 3, Brandy, Tracy, and Danielle, broke out laughing. Everyone was reaching for a slice of Pilarzi's pizza, and that included Danielle, Tracy, and Brandy. They all took several bites before resuming the conversation. Danielle said, Perhaps you need one of those naked cats. They don't have any hair." Brandy finished chewing her pizza, then responded to Danielle, "No, I really prefer dogs. If I had a pet, I would have an old English sheepdog." Danielle and Tracy at the same time expressed a soothing sound of agreement. Ah, they are so cute, said Tracy as Danielle nodded in agreement. Danielle, Tracy, and Brandy all reached for their glasses, toasted in agreement, and took a sip of beer, then another bite of pizza. At that point, their conversation ended for the night. All three were feeling a bit elevated. Brandy knew she wasn't driving home. Day would drive Brandy's car back at the end of the night. It was Sunday, and it was getting late. The evening crowd was finally gone, and few customers remained in the restaurant. Everyone was relaxed and comfortable, having eaten their fill of pizza. Brandy stood up and said, "Girls, please excuse me, but I must make a visit to the girls' room." Danielle and Tracy both spoke up. "Oh," said Tracy, "I would love to go along with you." Danielle quickly added, "I will join you two, if you don't mind. Cold beer has a way of flowing through my body quicker than most drinks." The three stood up, and once they gained their balance, slowly made their way to the hallway leading to the restrooms. Esther watched the three as they made their way down the hallway. They walked slow in order to control their forward movement. They had stood up next to Esther as she watched the three girls make their way down the hall. They looked at Esther and said, "You know, the twins could easily be related to Brandy, the way they can't handle beer." Esther turned to Day, smiled, and said, "Those three just cannot handle a pitcher of beer. I don't understand it." At that moment, several men walked into the restaurant. They wore sweats with hoods pulled over their head. As two of them stood close by, the third said to the waitress, "We want money, and you have 18 seconds to fill this bag or we start shooting." Esther kept her eyes on the three men as she spoke today. "I want everyone to remain sitting at the table no matter what." They saw that Esther was serious and sat down at the table, joining in with the conversations going on. Esther grabbed a tray from a nearby table and placed several glasses and an empty pitcher of beer onto it. She then walked forward as if she hadn't heard the three men. Esther yelled to the hostess, whose name was Betty. Esther had seen her name tag as she entered the restaurant earlier. "Betty, these kids only have $100 bill. Can you make change for me?" One of the three men quickly stepped towards Esther, hoping to grab some cash from her. Esther went into action, striking his second and third rib as he approached. His two ribs broke and moved against the right lung, creating a lot of pain and a tremendous amount of difficulty in breathing. Esther let him slide past her as he fell to the floor. Esther was close enough to the second robber to twist a handgun out of his right hand and strike his throat hard enough to send him to the floor gasping for air. As Esther closed in on the third robber, he stood at the front counter with a handgun in his hand pointed at the hostess. When he moved his arm and the gun towards Esther, it was too late. Esther had reached him and was disarming him. Esther drove her fist into his fourth rib on the right side, and it punctured his lung. The man went to his knees, dropping in a tremendous amount of pain. Esther had taken his gun, and it was concealed on her person. Well, I believe we're going to stop there. Until next time, please be safe and take care.